Dear friends, dear beloved community, welcome to today's session. Before we begin, let's take a moment to arrive in this present moment. So wherever you are, please establish yourself in your sitting position. You may need to adjust your posture. You may want to adjust your shoulders or take some movements. We don't have to close our eyes, but we can come back to the breathing in and the breathing out. I will invite 3 sounds of the small bell. And when we listen to the sound, we can simply enjoy the sound, coming back to our breathing in and our breathing out. So thank you for breathing together with us. My name is Kin, and if you are new here, welcome. This is our studios channel. And you may be wondering, I am here to learn about birth, but why am I taking precious time, like 3 minutes or maybe 4 minutes to breathe? So in our videos, I always begin with these breathing exercises so that every time in between the sessions, we can slow down, we can allow ourselves to soften, and we can allow ourselves to receive the information that you have been looking for. It's a bit like soil. If the soil is very hard, even if the rain comes down to nourish the soil would just like repel away the rain. But if the soil is a bit softer, even if it's just a little bit, it can absorb and receive the rain. Usually in a workshop like this, we do it physically in person in the studio. But with technology, we are grateful for technology, we are able to share this with more friends. So today's theme of the workshop is we want to learn about the hormonal physiology of birth. And I emphasize hormonal physiology of birth because the last session in the previous video, we talked about physical physiology of birth. We talked about how the baby rotates in the mother's womb, birth canal, before making its entrance into the world. And today we'll continue the discussion on what's on the inside. So hormonal means like the feelings, the different transitions that you may observe in a birthing mom. And for today's topic, we are talking about vaginal birth. Please look out for our future practices where we will talk about the different tools to support deliveries if vaginal birth is unavailable at that moment. And for our friends, new friends, old friends who have been with us for a while, I always emphasize once and once again that we allow ourselves to open and explore the different possibilities. We do not restrict and close ourselves up. Oh, I don't want to talk about this one thing. Oh, I don't want to learn about that thing, because sometimes we allow ourselves sufficient, good enough information so that we can go into a situation feeling a little bit more informed. And this is my wishes for this series of birth information to be shared with you. If you are going on a trip and then it obviously says that it's going to be raining, then I will ask you to pack your umbrella and your raincoats. Like, I wouldn't just tell you that, hey, your journey is going to be sunshine and roses, just like wing it. Of course we can wing it, but if we knew that there is a chance of rain, maybe you would like to pack some rain gear in your toolkit. And that is the fundamental of why we are offering this information right now. As we are sharing this information, if you feel that oh, there's a little bit of a queasiness in my stomach. Oh, I feel a tightness in my chest. I really invite you to just rub your palms, put your hands on your heart, put your hands on your belly, put your hands on your face or your neck, just for you to regulate and come back to yourself. Our hands are amazing. It has so many, not just nerve endings, but we can use our hands to draw, to write, to create, to hold a person's hand. So use your hands to help you receive information. Use your hands to regulate your body. And now let's begin. Once again, welcome. And on the screen right now, you will see some slides. When we are going through the slides, if you find that it's a bit too fast, you need a bit of time to digest and integrate what is being shared, please feel free to pause the video. This is the beauty of having an online session like this. Last but not least, as we're going through the session, if you want to take breaks for yourself, you can always come back to the video again. Like I mentioned, this information, they take some time to be understood, to be digested. So you may have new insights 1, 2, 3 days, weeks, months down the road after watching these. And once again, please offer your open heart and your open mind and see where this can bring you. So, like I mentioned, you can take down notes. There is no need to take any screenshots because I recognize we are in this era where people love taking photos of the slides and thinking that they would come back to the slides afterwards. But honestly, sometimes we don't. And you already have like more than 200 photos or maybe 2,000 photos. So just sit down, receive, allow it to wash over you like the rain. Move around when you need to. And I mentioned here asking questions. If it's an online platform, you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. You can reach out to us via our Instagram page, which is kindlespace.sg, and we will get back to you when we can. My name is Kin, and for the first time, for our friends who are seeing me for the first time, I will be guiding you through today's session. A little bit of a background. I'm a mother of 3. I'm the founder of Kindle Space, which is where our studio is at. And I'm also a childbirth educator, just a nerd in relationship and birth, and infant massage instructor, yada yada. So sometimes I offer this introduction so that we can get to know each other a little bit better. And once again, you're welcome to stay connected with us so that we can help you with your journey. So just passing through the slides. Today's workshop, I also want to give thanks to where I got my certification from. This is Birthing from Within, which was founded out in 1998 by midwife Pam England, where she sees a need to address modern birth education with more holistic elements, which is why in our birth workshop, what I do is not just giving you slides, but I would also be offering live sharing. Most of my script, I have no script. It is what is coming up to me, what information and what insights I feel that need to be shared with you. In our first video, we talked about how preparing for birth is like picking the berries. If you have missed that, please hop over to our YouTube playlist and then watch that first. We also talked about the similarities between giving birth and going for a marathon, recognizing that stepping into a new identity takes a lot of courage, and it is indeed quite a new chapter to come. So in the previous video, we've also shared about how the baby descends from the birth canal in a vaginal birth. So this video is also available on YouTube. You can watch it in the first video, like I mentioned earlier, on preparing the mind for birth. After we prepare the mind for birth, now we can understand the body for birth. We also mentioned about the difference between effacement and dilation. So as we embark on this new chapter, I also wanted to share with you what are the differences and remind us between effacement and dilation. Just because someone is 10 centimeters dilated, it doesn't mean that she is ready to push. Similarly, someone who may not be dilated as much yet doesn't mean that her labor is not progressing. It just so happened that the number itself is very simple to understand. It's easy to record on the metrics and for our healthcare provider to hand over to each other. So biologically and physiologically, we have to see beyond just the number itself. Effacement and dilation both has to happen for labor to progress. In the past, where no one is doing vaginal examination, we usually look at a mother's psyche, how she is breathing, how she is behaving. Is she able to speak full sentences during her contractions? Does she breathe very gently, or does she breathe in rhythms like fast and hard, and then slow and steady, or quick and shallow, or deep and slow? The thing about breathing in birth, some of us are also curious, like, hey, how do I breathe? How do I push? I just want to also bring it back to very simple truth, is that every single one of us is different. Our body's metabolism, the elasticity of our diaphragm, our daily habits. So if I want to teach someone how to breathe, of course I can do that. Just that we also have to remember that intuitively, when a woman or when a birthing person goes into the bathroom, she will breathe accordingly to how she will want to breathe. We can manipulate a little bit, guide her a little bit. Hey, take a longer exhalation, breathe in for 4 counts, breathe out for 6 counts, breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We could do that. And at the same time, also recognize there is truth to let her breathe as she needs to breathe when the time comes. By the way, fun fact is that the intensity of the labor usually matches with the intensity of the breath. If the contraction and the sensation is coming in soft, then the breath would still be like for maybe 45 seconds to 60 seconds. That's the length of contraction. If the contraction or sensation is coming in a strong wave, when you have a strong wave, just like the person surfing on the wave, she has to go up high and come down low. So then her breathing will go ooh, and down and in and out and in and out. So if you have missed that, let me repeat that again. The intensity of the labor is directly related to the intensity of her breath. As doulas, as childbirth educators, birth companions, birth partners, it is our responsibility to simply just hold the space for her. If we notice that her breath is high and tight, we can use hands, we can use voice, we can use touch. Is always something available to us. Hence. So coming to hormonal physiology of birth, there are so many combinations and there are so many types of hormones in the body. And I don't want to go too in-depth with that because I recognize that we can go on forever and this recording might be like 4 hours or 6 hours long. I just want to focus on a few key hormones that will be supporting the labor to progress. Actually, we think that it only happens during labor, but the truth is it's already happening now. We all have these hormones, even during pregnancy, even before pregnancy. So the first one is progesterone. It prevents uterine contractions before the onset of labor. It helps to soften ligaments and cartilage for labor, not just your relaxin. Progesterone is also there. Oxytocin is released in higher amounts during the end of pregnancy, and it is responsible for contractions during labor and after birth, aka breastfeeding, bonding, all the way to years, 1 year, 2 years, maybe many more years postpartum. Relaxin softens the joints and the ligaments to allow baby to move down the birth canal. Prostaglandin, adrenaline, and beta endorphin. So these are some of the key hormones that I wanted to highlight. Shortening down the list to 3, okay? So before that, recognizing that in summary, no one exactly knows what kicks off the hormones in labor. Each hormone is very important in the process, and they will react with each other to allow labor and birth to progress. 3 key hormones, as I was mentioning, is remembering number 1, oxytocin, number 2, adrenaline, and number 3, beta endorphin. So oxytocin helps to kickstart labor, and oxytocin helps to strengthen the contractions, and adrenaline keeps us alert. It's the fight or flight hormone. Beta endorphins is a body's natural painkiller. Imagine when you stub your toe, you kick your toe against the door. At that short moment, you don't feel the pain yet, and the pain comes afterwards. So in that short moment, that's where beta endorphin is coming in to pause for a moment, and then for yourself to assess the pain and decide where to move on from there. So when we talk about hormones, it's not like it's our arm, our nose, our hair, or our knees. We cannot see hormones, right? But actually we can feel. We can feel hormones. Hormones can be also related to how we are feeling. Isn't that cool? Hormones is a physical thing, or is it a mind thing? Is it body or is it mind? But actually it is both. The mind affects the body affects the mind. And science has been ongoingly proving to us that as human beings, what happens in the body does affect the mind. Any tension in the body brings up messages to the brain center, and then the brain will then react, respond, correct, or simply stay and do nothing. Okay. Oxytocin, I call it the trusting hormone. Actually, some people call it like love hormone, happy hormone, bonding hormone. Cortisol, adrenaline, these are your stress hormones, your feelings of fear, feelings of your heartbeat faster, stomach queasiness, butterflies in your belly, a bit like in the morning when you wake up, you feel like you need to go and brush your teeth. That's also like a little bit of adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline and cortisol, they are not horrible things. Sometimes we need them to get things moving and get things done. So just re-emphasizing that as well. Everything in the body happens and exists in regulation. We also have your serotonin. We also have your GABA, which is your deep rest. So this is just an example of how hormones and emotions are related. So when we observe some mothers are having difficulties to rest deeply or rest better in their in the later part of the pregnancy or early postpartum, sometimes we look into GABA, which is can be pharmaceutically created. And sometimes it's being offered together with magnesium, or it's being offered with some other mood stabilizers. So this is just a FYI. Okay, so what do I have this? Over here, I put in highlight going to the edge. So then we are learning how to go to the edge of these hormones and recognizing that at the edge, we won't fall down into darkness and like vacuum, right? Going to the edge, it means that after we cross the edge, another chemical reaction will happen. Another hormone will come back up to support you. So are you able to trust yourself to go to the edge of trusting, to the edge of stress, to the edge of fear, to the edge of happiness? And recognizing that once we go to edge, something else will shift and change. One thing about labor is that things are shifting and changing, and we allow ourselves to go with the flow. So at this moment, I'm going to pause and let us focus on the breathing for a while. So if you are sitting upright, please take a moment to come back to your breathing in and breathing out. So please join me. And let's enjoy 3 sounds of the bell again. Breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. Breathing out, I know this is my out-breath. In, out. Breathing in, I feel my whole body breathing in. My belly expands, my hips expand, my chest expands. Breathing out, I feel my whole body breathing out. My chest falls, my belly softens, my hips soften. Expanding, softening. Breathing in and breathing out. Thank you for breathing together. Once in a while, I would call for short breaks like this because this is also reflective of how labor will be. We have to learn when to go with the sensation and the contraction. And then we need to learn how to stop and breathe, rest, and do nothing. Many people talk about contractions. They talk about the length of their labor. But what I wish more people talk about is the break, the pauses in between the sensations and the contractions. Nature is quite fair. When we have contractions coming in, I use these words: contractions, expansion, sensations, and pain. These words are just words. It doesn't fully describe the feeling, to be honest, but it's easy to understand. Some people don't like to use the words contraction because they feel like if I'm contracting, I'm squeezing everything out. So again, everything happens in waves. In the human biology of the uterus, you can search up on some videos of people trying to explain about the uterus. It is very interesting because what is contracting is the top of the uterus, right? And then when the top of the uterus contract, it pulls the side of the uterus upwards so that it can expand the bottom, which is the birth canal. Recognizing that both actions are happening together. Contraction and expansion happens together. Pressing feeling on the top and pushing feeling down below happens together. It's a bit like you're doing a push-up and a sit-up at the same time. So yeah, this is just an example. Okay, so what are we going to do now? I have prepared a little summary slide on the stages of labor, which I will talk about a little bit more. I have categorized into 5 roles. I'll see if you want, you can call it 5 stages. People tend to focus a lot on the first and the second stage, but I want to give space and shine light that there's more. Labor is just the beautiful general term. We have pre-labor, which is the time before labor actually begins. Non-progressing contraction. Your cervix is changing, but there's no dilating. You feel the press on the top. We call that practice contraction if you want. Braxton Hicks, I don't know. You can still go on with your life. You don't have to pause and stop and hold on to a wall or hold on to someone and like, whoa, what was that? So when that happens, we can say first stage of labor, which is the dilation stage, where the cervix actually is dilating. To summarize, pre-labor and first labor, what's the difference? Pre-labor, you think that you might be in labor, but then during contractions, you are still okay. It's Like, oh, I'm okay. I can still go to get my cup of water. I can still go downstairs for a walk. I can take a shower. But then in first stage of labor, I will talk about it. There's also three different stages of the first stage of labor. Is that the contractions are coming and you feel the oomph, like, hey, oh, wow, okay, let me hold on to my chair. Let me hold on to the wall. Let me like, wee, what was that? And then you start to time your contractions, okay? Second stage of labor is the birthing of the baby. It could take between 20 minutes to 2 to 3 hours. The third stage of labor is the birth of the placenta. And this is what I like to share about, is because the placenta has to be born too. The pushing doesn't just stop at the baby's birth. You have to birth your placenta as well. This is also when stitching happens, when the gynae would stitch. In some practices and in some hospitals, in some home births, stitching is optional. So this is something you might want to check with your provider on that. The fourth stage of labor is the recovery stage. It can happen right from when the placenta is born all the way to you go to the room, you go home, fourth trimester, 1 year postpartum, 2 years postpartum. So fourth stage of labor, I think is the recovery on bonding stage. Some people think that it is just when she's in the hospital, but the truth is we all know that recovery and bonding takes time. So this is why I'm shining light on the stages of labor here to offer you that breathing space, that there is no need to hurry, there's no need to rush, no need to hurry, no need to rush for labor, no need to hurry, no need to rush for recovery and bonding as well. Sorry, that was I have gas inside me. All right, so yeah, let's see. I am going to try to share screen, but before that, let me just run through a few more technicalities. What do I do when water breaks? So you may want to pause on this slide for a while. In summary, we follow this acronym called COAT, C-O-A-T. What is the color of the fluid? Is there a smell? Is the amount a trickle or a gush? What is the time that this happened? And what is the temperature of the mother when this happened? If you can kind of visualize and envision a little bit, why are we asking about all this? Is to find out if, number one, baby has poop inside the womb or not, and whether there's meconium, because if there's meconium, the color that's coming out is obviously going to be murky. We want to notice if there is inflammation of the mothers, because by taking her temperature, we can't measure the temperature of the baby, but we can measure if the mother is going through inflammation or infection. In some countries where midwife care is supported, we noticed also that they have about a time frame for mothers whose water bag has broken. Another thing is to understand that there is multiple layers of your amniotic fluid sac. So if, again, this is your homework, I'm going to leave you to go and read up more about it. And that's how you can learn better. Reading up more about how many layers of membrane does your amniotic fluid sac have. So a trickle and a gush. One other tip that you can take away is if you feel that your water bag may have broken, what you can do is to put a pad, a maternity pad, a sanitary pad on your underwear to collect the water. Sometimes when you reach the hospital and they want to test whether it is really water bag breaking or not, they don't have to draw the water out, because if the water bag is indeed opening up or is breaking, we want to have minimal things going in, because that's introduction of possible external bacteria. But sometimes, even though it's in a sterile environment, you want to avoid that. You can just give them the pad and say, oh, my water leaked into this. Do you think you can try to test here? If they say yes, good for us, and then we flow with that. But if they say no, they are worried of contamination, then we have to kind of like flow the other way. So I hope you got that written down. If I spoke too fast, rewind, note down your tips and tricks again, okay? Pause this video, read again, and on the right side, you can see how to identify if our water bag has broken. Typically, contraction starts within a few hours. You can still go and have breakfast. You can still go and have a shower. You can still do something. Just put your pets with you, right? But of course, it depends on your healthcare provider. What is their mode of care? If some of them belongs to the more conservative side, this kind of conversations happens now in pregnancy. We don't wait until the water bag breaks, then we ask, hey, what is the method of care? These questions can be asked now. It's a practice time for you to check in with like how you can get yourself more informed. Usually when a water bag breaks and you call the clinic, they will also ask you these 4 things: C, O, A, and T. Okay, so I hope this slide was helpful for you. And then in terms of World Health Organization, it has offered a strong recommendation in favor of having vaginal examination every 4 hours during the first stage of labor. Everybody remembers what is the first stage of labor? It is the dilation stage where your cervix dilates to 10 centimeters. So you actually can have a preference that you only want your cervix to be checked every 4 hours if that's what you prefer as well. This is great for both partners to take note as well, because sometimes when the mom is very deep into her labor land, yes, I just said that, it is up to you to advocate for her. We also have this thing called the birth plan. It's getting more and more popular recently. Actually, I put it out here because this piece of paper, I want it to be very clear. It is not a wish list. It is not a talisman. It's not something you throw up into a tree and then it will come true. Some people may not like me for being so humorous, or like they don't like it when I make a joke about it. But I am sharing this because when we make a birth plan, we have to also be open that things sometimes don't go according to plan. So instead of thinking of a birth plan, think of it as a birth preference for us to communicate with our partners, healthcare providers, for you to find information on different outcomes. So yeah, I have a birth plan template available in the studio. And for our friends who are not in Singapore, if you want to receive a sample birth plan, feel free to, once again, drop us a WhatsApp or connect with us on Instagram. Drop me an email, it's also okay. So yes, now I am going to do something, prepare the next part of our recording. All right, so I hope you can still see me and my little whiteboard here. So let's begin. This is what we usually share as we go along. So just now we mentioned that there are 3 hormones. Anyone remembers what's the 3 hormones? Okay, the 3 hormones. Number 1, okay, will be oxytocin. Number 2, adrenaline. And number 3, endorphins. As I continue to share, maybe there will be some new insights, and I welcome you to lean in and just pause the video a while if you find that I'm going too fast, okay? So first, I'm going to draw somebody. I'm going to draw a pregnant person. So this pregnant person, I don't know, maybe she has braids. Then her breast, oh dear. Okay, let's try something. She got her breast, she got her bump, and then she got her legs. Okay, and then her face. Yeah, it's a neutral expression. I don't want to just predict her expression, just put her as neutral expression now. Inside her belly, she has her womb. This is the baby with the hands and the legs. All right, cool. Pregnant person. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Obviously, I cannot hear your answer because it's a recording. You can discuss with your partner if you're watching with them, or you can just ask yourself back this question. Who starts labor? Who kickstarts labor? Is it a mom? Is it a doctor? Is it a partner? Is it the stars, the moons, the sun? I don't know, Mother Earth? Who starts labor? As far as we know, nobody exactly knows who starts labor. But I do know that there's elective choices like inducing labor or elective methods of birthing. And when we say elective, it means that we chose it ourselves, right? But in this situation, we're talking about spontaneous labor where no one exactly knows who starts labor. But then again, if you think about it, how does a mango tree know when to drop the mango? I could be wrong because I'm not a fruit expert. There was one day when I was walking home and I saw that the mangoes have fallen from the tree. Of course, we picked it up and we brought it home. But then it got me thinking and I went to read up a little bit more. So there are so many conditions that have to come into place for the mango to drop. Of course, gravity is one of them. But when the mango flower first came, for it to come into a fruit, and then when the mango grows big enough, it will reach a point of ripening. It will secrete a substance, a chemical, into the branch, which potentially have also weakened slightly so that it can let the mango drop when the time comes. And so together, working like this, one day the mango is ripe enough and then it drops onto the floor with gravity. I'm offering that as a perspective of like recognizing, oh, okay, interesting. And then secondly, when a cat gives birth. When a cat gives birth, we all know that a cat is a mammal. And if anyone has cats and kittens, you would know that the mama cat would go into a cardboard box to give birth. Why does she go into a cardboard box to give birth? Again, you can pause and discuss with each other. Maybe you're looking at each other or you're thinking to yourself and ask that question already. So a mama cat goes into a box to give birth because it's an enclosed area. She's able to be fully vigilant and protective when her little kittens are born. If any predator or any threat comes in, she can growl, she can just meow. Yeah. Maternal instinct. So when a mama cat goes into a dark little cardboard box, she's creating safety for herself. That's oxytocin. When a mama cat is getting ready to fight off her enemies if anyone comes close to her kittens, that's adrenaline, which is the fight and flight hormone. In the wild, let's talk about elephants. In the wild, when elephant give birth, when a mother elephant gives birth, the other elephants would form a circle around her. That is also environment to create safety. And we think about as humans, sometimes we forget that we are also mammals, but yes, we are also mammals. We also have hair on our skin. And we forget the importance of safety. We may not be able to create the birth environment with fairy lights, aroma oil, soft music, dimly lit lights. I don't know, maybe you can, but at least in my births, I couldn't. But that doesn't mean that you cannot create safety from within. And which is why I am taking this precious time of you to share about hormonal physiology of birth. Because when we can get a little glimpse into what's actually happening beyond what your eyes can see, maybe they can bring us some assurance. Of course, we are learning to trust the unknown. Every day is an unknown. I don't know what's tomorrow going to bring. And, but when we are in birth, the trusting of the unknown is like, it keeps coming. And so let's learn together, okay? Now, going back to the analogy of the mango, There are many, many different explanations of how birth has progressed. This is my interpretation from what I've learned from the books and also my experience in an unmedicated vaginal birth. In an unmedicated vaginal birth, we know that when you're very close to birth on the day, the baby may decide, okay, hey mom, today is the day I would like to come to earth, or maybe like 24, 48 hours later. So then the baby would send a signal into the mom's bloodstream and what's happening over there. So then you send a message and maybe like start a little bit of tightening sensations. So that could be actual labor, right? So this is where we talk about where the contractions are really happening. When there's little contractions, the mom can feel some sensations. We are mammals, okay? We are also a kind of animal. Like we said, mind and body related. So then the signal is sent to the brain. Labor is starting. She feels something in her womb. So her brain decides to produce more oxytocin. The fun part is that for oxytocin to work at the end of your trimester, third trimester, very close to birth, there is these little dots called oxytocin receptors. So what's oxytocin receptors? Oxytocin receptors is to receive the oxytocin. So then there's oxytocin receptors going in here. It starts to line up all over the womb. Very early on in pregnancy or in your first few weeks of your third trimester, there's not so many red dots. So even if there's oxytocin, it's just like going around in your whole body. Then now there's oxytocin receptors. So then these oxytocin receptors begin to receive the oxytocin, and then the contractions continue to increase. So then it sends more message up to the mama's brain, and then more oxytocin is produced, and then the cycle goes on and on and on, and the contractions go more and more and more. And when we say this, that is why we share this is the loop, hormonal loop of contractions. It is intended in this way to let the brain knows that labor is progressing. Let's keep those oxytocin coming. Labor progresses, oxytocin increase, contractions continue to increase, expansion increase. Okay, by now we already know that labor has its own clock. Labor has its own clock. This clock is not the 24-hour clock. It's not the clock in your house. It's not in the clock on your phone. It's not the clock in the hospital. If we truly want a mother to go through with labor, recognizing that labor has its own clock, just that sometimes when we are in the system itself, it's a little bit challenging because we still have to flow with the system. So let's continue to work on this, okay? Labor progresses, oxytocin increases, contraction increases, expansion is happening. As you can see, there's a lot of blue lines here. So all this contraction, what does it mean? When the mom is going through the contractions, what does it mean? We mentioned just now. As labor progresses, her breathing also progresses. This is the reason why we practice breathing so much, not just in the YouTube channel workshops or videos, but every day in the studio, we keep practicing breathing. So how does the breathing sound? Let me demonstrate. If you're on your headphones, you may want to turn down the volume. I'm just joking. So we mentioned in the first stage of labor, just going to move down a little bit. Let's recap, okay? You have your first stage of labor is where dilation of the cervix goes to 10 centimeters. Again, 10 centimeters is just a number. More and more research, and honestly, it's very hard to research when a woman is birthing. A baby is coming into the world, we can't stop her and, hey, let me measure your cervix. Well, we could, but that's not very pleasant. So there's very limited research. People are giving birth at 8 cm. People are giving birth at 9 cm. People are giving birth at 12 centimeters. So this is just an arbitrary number. First stage of labor is categorized into 3 parts. There is early labor, active labor, and transition. Okay? Early labor is 0 to 4 centimeters. Active labor is 4 centimeters to people are like 7, 8, in between. Again, who's right and who's wrong, we don't know. This is just for easy understanding. But sometimes the biggest understanding is within 8 centimeters to 10 centimeters. Okay, so when it's 0 to 4 centimeters, I think we can put like contractions are 20 minutes apart. Oops. Okay, and it's active labor, contractions. Oops, this is perfect example of why my video is not AI. It is live. Oopsies. All right. Early labor, as you can see, contractions are about 20 minutes apart. So what do you do in these 20 minutes? Go for a coffee, go and buy your grocery, do some meal prep. You might want to make some frozen lasagna for your family who may not want to have like food delivery when the baby comes, 0 to 4 centimeters could be like your last burst of nesting energy. Usually I would say like we don't even know that, do not know if it's contraction or not. Or maybe I will put it this way. Is this contraction? This is. Remember, we talked about the psyche. So this is the psyche. The psyche when someone's in early labor. Is this contraction? Oh, I feel something. Oh, when I'm drinking my tea or my matcha. Oof, what's that? Oh, I'm a bit worried. Is this contraction? So that's early labor. And then if you think about our great, great, great grandmother's time, or maybe you don't have to go that far, just our grandmother's time. This is the sign where they're like, okay, children, time to pack up, go to school. You don't go to school, you go to auntie's house. Okay, food. I have enough vegetables and I have enough chicken in my fridge for the next 3 days. Oof, okay, this is when like, is this contraction? Okay, I cannot feel it. I'm not very sure. I have baby coming today, baby coming tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Let me just take care of everything. So in the past, if they are farmers, they would have to finish up reeling in the crop of the day, and that's how early labor is. All right, it could happen for a day, 12, 24 hours. We don't know because it could be 0 centimeters as well. Active labor. This is contraction. This is contraction. I can feel it. And then you're holding on to something. It's like, oh wow, this is contraction. I can feel that. Ooh, ooh, I need to sway my hips. Figure 8, left to right. So ladies, this is for you. This is contraction. In between your contraction, go into your hip sways, left and right, left and right. By the time you start timing, then you can notice if you have to go to the hospital or not. And again, this is a conversation that you need to have right now when you're pregnant and not until like both is actually happening. So even if you are 30 weeks pregnant, 32, 35, 38 weeks pregnant, clarify with your healthcare provider again, when do I come to the hospital? Again, when you ask that, you'll start to notice there are so many different preferences. If the healthcare providers have different preferences on how they want mothers to come into the hospitals, of course, as the birthing mothers ourselves, we can also have preferences within boundaries. Anyways, so then some of them, they will say, you come in 4 minutes apart. You time your contraction from the start to the start, or you just use a contraction timer, okay? We don't time a contraction from start to end and then end to start. Does that make sense? You might want to rewind that and listen again. We time the contraction with an app when it starts, when it stops. Okay? Some healthcare providers, they say you come in depending on the pain level. If the pain level is a 5, you stay at home. If the pain level is a 7, because this is contraction, then you come in, right? So again, like checking with your healthcare providers, what is the scope of practice here? Okay, transition, you're already in the hospital. As you notice, I didn't even write how apart the contractions are because they're going like bam, 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 bam. And when it goes bam, 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 this is the time when women gives up. And this is the time when all partners freak out. So it sounds a bit silly, but it is true because when you are going through that motion and when nobody tells you about it, when you are freaking out, usually this is what we call the psyche of transition. When vaginal examinations didn't happen last time, like I was mentioning, we just look at the psyche of the mom. Let me just demonstrate to you, okay? Early labor. Is this contraction? Breathing in. I know this is my in-breath. Breathing out. Oh, I feel something. Tightening, tightening, tightening. Okay. I feel like if I watch this video like 5 or 10 years down the road, I might cringe a little bit, but this is how I recall my own births, okay? Active labor. Swaying my hips at home, maybe like 12 hours later, swaying my hips at home. Oof. Ooh, breathing in. Ooh. F breath. Ooh, send the breath down to the belly. S breath. Oh, I'm doing that crunch. I feel something. Oh, I gotta squirm to my left, squirm to my right. Okay. Oh, yeah, that was a contraction. Yeah, that was a contraction. So remember how I demonstrated during the contraction, how the breathing is happening, and then there's a pause, there's a break in between. And a lot of women, we don't know how to rest in this break. We go and check our phones, we go and do this, do that. We still want to do nesting, but no, stop nesting, okay? So if you are in active labor, in between your contraction, rest, do nothing. Just close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you can go back to breathing in. I know I have a body. Breathing out. I know I'm birthing my baby. Body. Baby. Breathing in. I feel like a flower. Breathing out. I'm opening. Flower. Open. Okay, so the breaks in between those active contraction is where we pause. We fill ourselves up just like a marathon. You need to get that banana, you need to get that 100 plus electrolyte drink. And partners, if you're offering this to her, offer water in between her contractions and not during contraction. Prepare a straw with you. Maybe she wants warm water. Warm water usually works better during labor because warmness gives her that energy to keep going instead of like contracting her uterus even more. Prepare a straw, put it in a paper cup, and just like when she's done with the ooh, you can see from her face, you can tell like she's rocking her contractions. And once she's done, no words, but she's a verbal person, just give her your message, just say I love you, and then go out there and say, my darling, drink some water. And during active labor, some of us may be holding it in, like we're like, oh, I squeeze in between my legs. preparing yourself that when you do, if you are birthing in the hospital or even if you're birthing at home, you gotta be off your underwear and you gotta be, if you want, off your bra. For me, I did because I know that right after my baby is born, I'm going to be doing skin to skin. I'm going to be latching her right away. So I took off my undies and I took off my undergarments, and then I just wear the hospital gown. And when you are going through your active labor, you can be in a side lying position. And if you're in a side lying position, you can hold on to a bed rail when the contraction is coming. This is assuming you're in the hospital already. Like, ooh. And then some of the sounds that you may make is like, what? Or, oh. Can go up, can go down. Okay. I'm sharing this, and if because again, we are mammals, we are a living being with feeling, and it's not rocket science. It is not rocket science that we have to make sound when we are going through something. Like, do you remember the last time you had something bad, and then your stomach was like quelching, and then you had to go to the toilet, like, oh my God, oh dear, oh yeah. Those are sounds. Do you remember the time where you accidentally, again, kick your foot into the door and you're like, ouch, you know? And I share this with some care and compassion as well, recognizing that not all birthing women may make sound, and not every time when the mouth open, there is sound coming out. Sometimes there's no sound. She's just, or she's just, it could be like that. So birth challenges us to let go of all these preconceived notions of how to behave in a society. Birth is nature at work. Think about Mother Earth. At peak moments, there are volcanoes around the world. Think about the ocean, the waves. Think about nature, the trees dancing in the wind. These are not woo-woo stuff. These are real. Like just look outside of your window and you can probably see a tree, if not maybe downstairs, just a few feet away from your house. So yeah, recognizing that as a woman, when the contractions is increasing, she needs to open her mouth. I can't say this enough. But when we are in a hospital setting, shouting, noise doesn't always mean something well is going on. And to preserve the peace of a quiet environment, there may be providers coming in out of goodwill and kindness to say, hey, can you don't shout? Hey, don't waste your energy. You need your energy for pushing. Because they are uncomfortable with noise and they mean well. And honestly, some of them have decades of experience. So their experience may or may not apply to you. So that's why I want to share. The volcano, does it ask for permission before it erupts? I don't think so. Like, hello, I'm gonna erupt soon. But now we got like a volcano detectors to warn the villagers to evacuate when a volcano is going to erupt. You see? So the volcano still has to do her thing. And then the villagers are the ones that moved away. So if we apply that into birth, how would that look like? And for the birthing person itself, what do you do when you don't know what to do? Are you willing to go to the edge? How far are you willing to go to trust and to surrender that something is coming on the other side? Well, obviously your baby is coming on the other side, but also think of like your birth, think of like your birthing sounds as your warrior cry. And I cannot emphasize this enough. We are birthing the new generation of mothers, warrior cries, okay? Birthing cry. Oh. Even when a mother chooses cesarean birth, she can also go through that. And for all we know, these moments will come where she will have to let out that, oh, it could be during the birth itself, it could be during postpartum recovery. At some point of time in our life, we will have to feel and not run away from whatever sensation that we are going. So I recognize I digress quite a little bit, and now I'm going to come back. 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters. This is usually the time where she wants to give up, and she'll be like, why did you impregnate me? And when she freaks out, you know that baby is coming very close. A tip for birth partner, I weave this in, I may be doing a separate recording afterwards, is if you tell her, my love, can you go through your contractions for 2 more hours? She's going to tell you no. 2 hours is a very, very long time. Okay, 2 hours is a very long time. So birth partners, what you can do is, my darling, let's try again for 5 more minutes. Or let's try for another 10 rounds of contractions. And after these 10 rounds, if you want to switch course, then we switch, okay? Then you will be surprised. Usually around like when you go to the hospital, the first thing that they ask you is if you want epidural or not. And they don't really ask your name first. I'm just joking. Maybe it's true. I don't know. At least during my time, they didn't ask my name. They just asked whether I want epidural or not. But obviously, they could see my psyche. I was already inactive, and I was just like, nope, I'm going to try. After 7 cm, it's actually quite hard to put an epidural. Like they won't allow you to take epidural. So you just have to keep going, which is what I wrote there. Just keep going. Now let's come back here, okay? Like I said, Mother Nature, she loves us. We are all happening in a cycle. You will not go through the pain without support. Your body also is creating endorphins. So you will have like glitter dust of endorphins coming in to support you to move through these sensations. Endorphins, how do they feel? You feel like you're in the in-between state. Your eyes are half closed. And of course, let me try. This is your eyes. Does it make sense? So the stronger your sensation and the stronger your waves, the more endorphins you're coming in with, and then the more you can you will feel like you're like, am I here? You're like, oh, in between. That's what we call the labor land. In labor land, ooh, sorry. Let's try that again. In labor land, as the labor progress, okay, as labor progress, the number of words she speaks decreases. Make sense? I repeat again. As labor progress, the number of words she speaks decreases. She will be losing her capability of speech and words because she's going through the ooh. Can you imagine she started to say water, go there, da, da, da. It's probably not. So like I mentioned, if she's in early labor, she can talk. She can type a WhatsApp message in perfect English. Full grammar, no errors. If she's in active labor, she can't be on her phone. Yeah. So you can just put the phone aside and just be fully present with her. Once again, going back to this whole thing that we're practicing in the studio, like learning to be in the here and the now. Are you okay to put your phone away for 4 hours and 5 hours and 6 hours? You know, start practicing this like before labor even begins and before the baby comes. Okay, so we have endorphins, which is your body's natural painkillers. It helps to ease it away. And then next, you will reach the peak. So after first stage of labor, it's to go to the second stage. What is the second stage of labor? It's the birth of the baby, So when the mama cat births her baby, there's a switch in her brain, right? So when the baby is coming, adrenaline means she's on fight or flight mode. And then the beautiful thing about adrenaline is that it increases all her senses. Okay, suddenly the room is very bright. Suddenly you see her eyes from this becomes this. Yeah, I didn't put like a crying face or anything. It's like she's alert. Adrenaline, alert. Why? Maternal instinct coming in. Am I birthing my baby into a safe world? Are there any threats around? Is the birth team around me? Is my husband here? Do I feel trust? Do I feel supported? Okay, so adrenaline kicks in. Her eyes, you can see like her eyes suddenly like, oh, okay, baby's coming. So she will be in the transition. She'll be like, that I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Stop. Oh, make this go away. Oh, by the way, that was exaggerating because remember, she's not supposed to be speaking. She's just like, oh, no. And sometimes it can be quite painful for the birth partners to watch if they cannot hold their solidity. You know, there's a lot of compassion, and as human beings, we have a heart, we have feelings, and we're like, oh my gosh, my love, I'm so sorry I did this to you. But then keep that to yourself. No victimizing that. Just keep that to yourself. Practice breathing in and breathing out. Hold her hand tight and just tell her how much you love her. Don't tell her to relax because she'll be like, I cannot relax. So this whole notion of like women breathing and da da da, she may not be able to relax. Relax is not a good, but scrape that off your dictionary. I love you. Works like a charm. Thank you for doing this. You're bringing our child. We're going to see her soon. We're going to see him soon. I love you so much. You are so brave. I believe in you. I am here for you. I am here for you. I am here for you. This, okay, can work. So because the number of words that she can say decreases, the number of words the both partners speak should also decrease. So if you're talking to her, make sure you're asking very simple questions, like yes, no question, okay? And if she doesn't answer you, like don't take it personally. She's doing her best in labor land. She will come out of labor land when adrenaline kicks in. Her eyes will like just suddenly blink open and she's like, baby is coming. And you know, like a hunter, like she's like this, okay? Nose, her sense of smell is very, very acute. And then she may start to feel dry in her lips, which is why before the actual birth of the baby, you're already giving her warm sips of water. She will feel very sensitive on the skin because the skin being the largest organ of the body. So yeah, adrenaline is kicking in, and how do you like support her to find that moderation? We're not saying that adrenaline is bad, but it's true that you want to support her in that way. So as birthing moms as well, you know that when your adrenaline is coming in, there will be a point where you go over the edge, complete trust and complete surrender and just, you know, do your thing. It's okay to freak out. It's okay to lose it all. It's okay to lose control. You don't have to control yourself. Like this is birth. You are the volcano. You are giving life into this earth. Like, my goodness, this is a superpower. Own it. It's very scary. I say it, I own it. But when I was a first-time mom, I was very scared too. My labor was in arrest for 4 hours, actually 5 hours. And then there was this moment I just like, you know what? I give up. Whatever. Ah! And then I went from 6 centimeters to 10 centimeters in like that. So it is very hard to go through that opening of the heart. But please know that there are a lot of people who love you, no matter how you behave, who you become, what you do in labor. It is okay. It is okay. You will be okay. We will be okay. All right. So adrenaline comes in, and the baby is born, and straight up into the breast. If everything goes well, then you can do your first latch, your skin to skin. The gynae proceeds to put local anesthesia into your perineal because he or she is going to start stitching you up just to support your recovery. When we give birth, science has already proven first and second degree tearing absolutely normal, okay? First and second degree tearing, absolutely normal. The thing where they snip a little bit of our cervix to help us push, that's called episiotomy. Decades ago, that was the standard practice. But then people are starting to realize that, hey, you know what, if we just leave the mom alone, first and second degree tear can and will heal. Yeah. When we talk about how to push, that's another whole topic. But to sum it up, there's two kinds of pushing, maybe three. Two kinds of pushing. One is called coach pushing, which is where she will breathe in, hold her breath, count to 10, and then push. It's also called purple pushing, right? Either the mom turned purple or the baby turned purple. I don't know. But well, I'm just trying to explain this in layman terms. And then the other one is spontaneous pushing, where she's like leading into a surges and she's like, ooh. And then she goes through the ring of fire. So we call like the birthing the ring of fire, like that big energy, just like the volcano. Again, putting that illustration in you. Your volcano, you can be the peak or you can be the bottom, right? You can be the top of the volcano or you can be the base. You decide where you are on that. So yes, then what is correct, what is wrong? That's the third kind of pushing, which is the in-between. Whenever we put ourselves into the mindset that this must be the way or that must be the way, we find that there's a lot of suffering because like, oh my gosh, I must go one way and then like there's no room for the other. The pushing part is the perfect example, right? The nurses will be like, okay, hold your breath, 1 to 10, push. But honestly, at that moment, are you able to hold your breath? If you cannot, then just breathe lah. You know, going back to the first part of this video where I say you breathe when you have to breathe. Why? Oxygen is our friend. Without oxygen, how can our cells have energy? Without water, how can our cells have energy? Right? So I hope that this video has been helpful for you to understand the hormonal physiology of birth. Of course, there may be some questions like, oh, will my water bag break before labor even start? What if your water bag doesn't break? There are many cases where the water bag only breaks at birth. It could also be the case. So allowing yourself to open yourself to these different possibilities may be helpful. Last but not least, I want to also share like, I didn't share this image here, what happens when someone takes epidural or what happens when someone take the choice of induction like Pitocin, which is fake oxytocin. It is not oxytocin, it's chemical, yeah. I don't think Pitocin will give us a feeling of trust, but then it is sometimes helpful to have that to augment the labor. The difference between augmentation and induction is augmentation is to speed up labor and induction is to induce, to start labor. Like I mentioned earlier on as well, there are multiple layers when we induce babies. I could be very wrong, you know, because I'm only learning from science and from the research that was offered during my course. And science is always changing. And I've never done inducing before, though I have heard from our different members. When you induce a baby, the contractions will begin and you are given 24 hours because it is a medicine. And when the contractions begin to start, maybe the body needs more time, needs more than 24 hours, but because the medicine is already in the body, so they have to start monitoring. And when they are monitoring, you can also ask, can you monitor me? Can you give me 24 hours to be at home? Because that's your home ground. That's oxytocin, natural oxytocin when you're home. People think that we go to the hospital like, nah, I'm not scared of the hospital. Nah, good, you know. But the truth is the nose never lies. The nervous system never lies. But the smell of the ammonia, the smell of the sanitized air, the sound of the beeping, our body does react to it, which is also why it's important to practice breathing in and breathing out. Like breathing in, I smell hospital air. Breathing out, I have a nose. It's just to remind ourselves to downward regulate a little bit. So there's plenty of discussion on these different tools being provided to support mother's birth. But we take what is needed for us. And when we make a decision, we just go along with it all the way through and we don't look back again. Everyone's birth story is very different. Even the same person giving birth multiple times, the birth story is also very different. So if you need to, put your hands on your heart, put your hands on your womb, or one hand to heart and one hand to your belly. And just take a few deep breaths for yourself, because you deserve this breath, and oxygen is our friend. I just want to share that again. If you're talking about pain coping tools, we also have the laughing gas. Laughing gas is one that could be quite helpful to take the edge off. And how you do laughing gas is you press the mask into your own face. You could be in a sideline position and you inhale very hard. Sounds a bit exaggerated, but and you'll feel like the mask will tremble on your face. You have to breathe hard enough. You can breathe it from your mouth. You're swallowing it in. But if you're choosing to take epidural, then also that's possible as well. You can still practice your breathing techniques so that you can take it at a later stage, knowing that around active labor also it's okay. But if you're taking it early labor, know that epidural can wear off. Some people have reaction to it. Sometimes it depends on the skill of the anesthesiologist as well. So again, there are many branches, of how labor may evolve. Do not lose yourself in the branches. When you look at the leaf in the wind, it's like the leaf is going to fall off. Do not focus on the branches. Focus on your stem, your trunk, your core. And if you feel like you are forgetting about your trunk, the solidity of your core, focus on your roots, because what is a tree without roots? Who are the roots? The roots are the people who love you no matter what you do. I believe in you. Oxygen, the food, how we've grown up, recognizing that you've got it. Yeah. No matter the birth outcome, you got it. You got it. You got it. Okay. Postpartum recovery, it's a brand new chapter. That's where the real marathon begins. So as you are preparing for birth, do not micro focus only on the birth. Open, step back, open up and see, hey, what are my postpartum options? Am I breastfeeding? If you are, time to look up on your resources. Again, look at our playlist for our video on breastfeeding. Visitor boundaries. You are recovering. You are not hosting. Okay, so what time do you want your visitors to come? And if are they able to respect you in that? All this preparation starts now. Food. Who's getting the food? Who's doing the chores at home when I need to hold my baby? All these things are how we prepare for birth, not just the birth itself. Relationship with my husband. How do we continue to give space to each other in this season? How do we practice breathing in and breathing out? Speaking of that, I'm going to invite 3 sounds of the bell again as we're coming to the close of this recording. This is a really long one this time around, and I'm just scraping the surface. This is not all of it. The rest of it is for you to uncover. I would say this is the recipe book. How you want to cook the dish, it's still up to you. Let's listen to 3 sounds of the bell. So please establish yourself in your sitting. Just take a moment. Put your hands on your heart, or put your hands on your belly. Listening to the sound of the bell until you cannot hear it anymore. Great. So yes, we will wrap up today's recording here, and I hope that you have learned something new. And I wish you all the best. Good luck. We are here for you. We will be available via email, via Instagram, via WhatsApp at the moment. And whenever you feel like nervous, just put your hands on your heart and come back to yourself, because it starts from right here, birthing from within, birth from inside you. I look forward to seeing you in our next practice together. And until then, I wish you well. I wish you happiness. And I wish you freedom. Freedom from worries, anxiety. And you will be receiving all the gifts around you, all the love that you deserve. Thank you.